Here, your online business development expert. And during today's fast track video, I want to take you behind the scenes and I want to run you through the agenda that I have for an upcoming planning day with my key leadership employees. Now, the reason that I want to take you behind the scenes to run you through this planning day with my key leadership team is because so often we're running a business and we are so focused on little tasks. It helps us to feel busy and productive. But I think it's really, really important that you start to cultivate a mindset shift of working on the business. And as the business owner, you may have that preconceived notion that you are the one that has to have the vision. You are the one that has to come up with the ideas and strategies that your team then moves forward to execute and implement on your behalf or with you. I have been following a methodology lately called Appreciative Inquiry. And John Berghoff is the world's leading expert in appreciative inquiry. And basically, it's about planning your meeting, asking questions, going through a 4-phase process that's tapping into the collective wisdom of your group. So whether it's a team meeting, a mastermind, it could be an event, where you're tapping into the highest and best wisdom in the room, and you are sharing goals and then mapping that future out, mapping the vision out together. Essentially, you're co-creating. Now, we have an upcoming team meeting, as I mentioned, for our leadership team. And you'll see here, I'm going to run through this so that you can perhaps use some of these tools or questions at your next team meeting or just to start planning ahead for the future. You'll see here that my objective is to ask questions about purpose and strengths, which connect us to a shared vision of the future. You see, because if it's just my vision and I haven't adequately articulated that to the team and then gotten them involved so that it's their vision as well, then there's less harmony in the organization. So my personal goals out of this planning meeting is to deepen our relationship and celebrate our achievements. So often we're focused on task, that we spend less time deepening the relationships with one another. And it's the deep relationships that create buy-in and loyalty that makes your team want to go the extra mile for you. And as a business owner, it makes me want to go the extra mile for them. And in terms of celebrating our achievements, how often do we not do that? Right? We have a sale, we have a goal that we've achieved, we broke through a fear, and we appreciate it in that moment. And then we move on to the next thing and immediately start talking down to ourselves like we're not good enough or we're not doing enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. And I think it's really important that we start to celebrate our achievements and our wins, to really remember the highlights. And thanks to Rob Teschner's book, Debrief to Win, I love the idea of debriefing not just our failures, but debriefing our successes as well. What actually allowed us to work together to create that achievement? So my next goal is to co-create the future of NGNG over the next 12 months. So basically, you'll see here in a bit that we go through our company organization structure and our goals, and then we're going to map out how we're going to achieve those goals together. The other goal is to identify distractions, right? So how many times in our business are we doing things that we know we should not be doing, right? So identifying, pinpointing what are the distractions, the things that aren't profitable, the things that aren't moving the needle, they aren't building our list, they aren't growing our social media following, and let's remove those to make room for the things that could be more effective. Next is refine our offers. So really deconstructing our services and our products and thinking, is this the right model? Is this the right price point? Are we, doing a great job? Are we offering more than we need to? Or are we offering not enough? So really refining that. And then having a focus on profit and growth, because without profit first, thanks to Mike Michalowicz's book, and without that growth, what are we really doing? We're more or less working day to day on a hobby as opposed to growing an organization, growing a successful business. So I think it's important that if you have a planning day with your team or with your clients on a mastermind, for example, that you are clearly outlining your objective and your goals. What is my goal and what are the expectations and how do I want my people to feel is an important thing. So then you'll see we broke it down into the 4 phases of appreciative inquiry. Phase 1 is appreciating. So explore and identify strengths of the team and the organization to appreciate our positive core. So I mentioned here, this is actually our outline for the meeting. So I identified to our team that what people say about our company, NGNG, it's important, it's crucial, right? So therefore, every single engagement that we have, every experience becomes critical. So what is your experience when you come to our website? What is your experience when you opt into our email list? What is your experience when you schedule a call with me? What is your experience on that call? What is the experience when you decide to invest in us to serve you better? And the onboarding, and then the actual fulfillment, and then after the project is completed, how are you cared for during that transition? And then what's next after that? Every single touch point, every email, every text message, every phone call plays a role into what people say about our company and about us as well. So what kind of a standard are we really holding ourselves to? And I'm going to, at this point, have basically a summary where I kind of outlay the concept as I just did for you. And then we're going to go through a series of questions and exercises. The first is an individual question. So without being humble, I'm going to ask each team member, describe what you value the most about yourself, your work, and this organization. So each person is going to go around the table and share that with each other. And I think it's going to be a really important bonding experience, and it's going to allow us to perhaps see strengths in each other that we didn't really realize were there, or strengths in the organization. Then as a group exercise, we're going to go through the next series of questions. So number 1, what are our most important core values, and how do we demonstrate those values at work? So I've actually written up a values document that I will be giving to each team member, and we're going to discuss those values. And do we need to change any of them? And how are we demonstrating those through our work? Not just in the care that we put into a website or the final product, but the care we put into each client interaction, right? The care that we put into ourselves and how that's going to show up in our attitude at work and the way that we treat others, right? Next is, how do we as a work group know when we have done good work, right? I think that's an important question to discuss. And what are the areas that we have for improvement, which I think will just be naturally identified, but I like to write them down. I want to document and hold ourselves accountable to the things that we can grow and improve upon. Then we're going to head into phase 2. And I think it's important to note that at this point, you might be thinking like, well, how long do I spend on each of these phases? And I think that there doesn't have to be a set time. If you have a set meeting, say it's 4 hours long and you have 4 sections, you could do an hour in each phase. For me personally, phases 2 and 3 are the most critical phases in my mind. So I'm going to be spending a lot more time there and less time on phases 1 and 4. So I think you're just going to naturally break it up based on the time that you have, or when you feel like you've fulfilled that phase and you're ready to progress. So phase 2 is all about envisioning results and impact. So envisioning possibilities, thinking, and imagining. I have an individual exercise that will bleed into a group exercise, because first I want my team members to write down some ideas, and then we'll share them and discuss them as a group. So the question is, what do you see as the 3 most desirable things about our team that we can build on for success? What are the 3 most desirable things about our team that we can build on for our success? Right? So I think it's important to look at what's not working And it's important to look at what's working so we can double down on those things and really maximize our strengths in the world. You can't be perfect at everything, right? But you can really expand upon and grow the things that are your unique strengths as an individual and as a team to better the organization and really stand out in the marketplace even more, right? At this stage, I'm going to review our organization structure because my company over the past decade has grown into something that's more than one offering, right? So we have our website agency where we are doing branding, building websites, or doing redesigns. Then we have Leverage to Scale, which is all about systems to help you market and launch more efficiently. And then we have this other group of coaching and consulting and masterminding and relationship building that I personally serve. And this is a lot of our high-end book launch clients or, other programs that we offer that are, much more higher end. So we kind of have these three different legs to the business. And it's important that the team can deconstruct each one and see, again, what are areas for improvement so that then we can pop into phase 3, which is about co-constructing. This is where the magic really happens, where we can build the vision and the ideas for NGNG for the greatest potential together. So kind of similarly to the last phase, first I'm going to have the individual team members write down their 3 concrete wishes for the future of this organization and for themselves individually. How do they see themselves fitting into that vision for the organization? So we're going to all have some quiet time. And I go through this exercise too, right? Because depending on what has happened and what's unfolded in the first couple of phases, my vision may have changed, right? So it's important that you're doing these exercises with your team and you're facilitating the conversation and creating a safe space, a trusted space where they feel like they can bring that vulnerability forward and their ideas forward, and it's just going to be welcomed and appreciated. So at this point, we're then going to discuss those and then refine the organization and the structure based on our ideal outcomes. So we're going to list goals, we're going to identify our challenge areas, and we are going to do some really deep strategic planning based on what's happened up to this point in the meeting. So I personally feel that phase 3 is going to take the longest amount of time in our planning day, and rightfully so. But now imagine the team bonding that will occur as we are literally all in together on the same page, co-creating our futures individually and collectively, right? So this is the power when you can really step back from working on the little tasks in your business, being a busy bee, and instead you can really step up as the leader of your organization and spend time working on the business for the betterment of the business. So at this stage, we're going to progress into phase 4, which is all about sustaining. So you'll see here, encourage shared commitment and discuss how we're going to empower each other so that we're continuing to learn and improvise and improve. So we have a group exercise where we are going to really brainstorm and discuss how can we set each other up for success. And I went out and I bought all of these Post-it notes. So when somebody has an idea of how they can ensure that the workplace stays productive and positive, we're going to write it on a Post-it note and stick it on a wall. Or if somebody wants to talk about how we're going to hold ourselves accountable to learning new things, I'm going to write it on the wall, on the Post-it note. How can we refine our systems and procedures? How do we have an active role in training and nurturing the rest of the team and our new hires? So these are all things that we can be writing and co-creating together. And then we could look at all of the Post-it notes, all of our ideas of how we're going to set each other up for success. And then maybe we could prioritize the top 3 to 5 that we're going to do. And now we have a concrete plan moving forward that we can hold each other accountable to, that we can discuss on our team meetings that we have on a regular basis, right? So this is a really important process. And then I'm having us end with an individual exercise. How will you personally stay professionally affirmed, renewed, enthusiastic, and inspired? And so we'll take a minute to really think about how am I going to bring myself to that place for myself and for each other so that we can achieve this vision and the goals that we set out to achieve. And then we're just going to go around the room and talk about it. And now that I know how one person wants to hold themselves accountable, now I can support that if I feel like they need support in that area, right? So I wanted to take some time to share this on a fast track video with you. It's very different than a lot of the past videos that I've shared on how to get better conversion with your website or how to increase your email list. But I think it's really important that I'm stepping up to develop your leadership skills as well, because it's not about just being busy and getting tasks done. It's about growing a company that you're proud of, that you have team harmony, you have shared vision, and now you can set up your tasks and delegate them to, in support of achieving that vision. So if you found value in this video, I would really appreciate if you would make a comment below and let me know what are a couple of the major aha moments or points that you got out of this that you are planning to adopt in your own business or that you found helpful. And I'd also encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when future videos like this become available. And be sure to head on over to ngrenterprises.com where you can learn about everything that I do and how we can support your business growth. And until the next video, just remember, no guts, no glory. Thanks a lot.